Welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your Quizmaster, Sean, and I've got 100 questions for you about world history. So let's see what we remember. Let's see what we know. Let's have fun guessing. At any rate, let's just have fun together. Let's start with question number 1. What was a primary river associated with the ancient Egyptian civilization? Was it the Tigris River, the Euphrates River, or was it the Nile River? And it was the Nile River. What event marked the end of the beginning of the Roman Empire? Battle of Actium, the invasion of Gaul, or the death of Julius Caesar? And it was the death of Julius Caesar. Who is considered the father of history for his work Histories? Socrates, Herodotus, or Plato? And that author was Herodotus. What event traditionally marks the beginning of the Middle Ages? The fall of the Roman Empire, the coronation of Charlemagne, or the Battle of Hastings? The beginning of the middle of the ages, we mark that with the fall of the Roman Empire. Who is often credited with kickstarting the Renaissance movement? Leonardo da Vinci, Petrarch, or Michelangelo? And that would be Petrarch. Which Portuguese prince led the Age of Exploration? Ferdinand Magellan, Christopher Columbus, or Henry the Navigator? And that would be Henry the Navigator. Which century is commonly regarded as the peak period of the Enlightenment? The 18th century, the 17th century, or the 16th century? And that would be the 18th century. The Industrial Revolution originated in which country? Britain, France, or Germany? The Industrial Revolution originated in Britain. What nation successfully resisted European colonization in the late 19th century? The Congo, Nigeria, or Ethiopia? And that was Ethiopia. What treaty ended World War I? The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, the Treaty of Versailles, or the Treaty of Trianon? And that would be the Treaty of Versailles. The Cold War was primarily a conflict between which two major powers? And that was the United States and the Soviet Union. Who played a significant role in the independence of India from Great Britain? Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhas Chandra Bose, or Muhammad Ali Jinnah? And that was Jawaharlal Nehru. The women's suffrage movement in the U.S. primarily aimed to achieve what? Economic opportunities, voting rights for women, or education reform? And that would be voting rights for women. What institution was challenged by the scientific revolution? The Catholic Church, the Ottoman Empire, or the Byzantine Empire? And it was the Catholic Church that was challenged by the scientific revolution. The American Revolution took place during what years? 1804 to 1815, 1775 to 1783, or or 1789 to 1799? And that would be the years 1775 to 1783. In which historical period did the concept of the little dictator originate? The Napoleonic Europe, the Soviet Union, or the Roman Republic? And that originated in the Roman Republic. What is a ronin in Japanese history? A religious leader, a skilled craftsman, or a masterless samurai? And that describes a masterless samurai. Charlemagne was crowned emperor of the Romans by Pope Leo III in which year? 476, 1066, or 800? And that would be the year 800. The European Union, EU, was formally established with the signing of what treaty? The Treaty of Maastricht, the Treaty of Versailles, or the Treaty of Rome? And that would be the Treaty of Maastricht. What ancient civilization was Babylon? Ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Greece, or ancient Persia? And that would be ancient Mesopotamia. Which Roman emperor took Christianity? Trajan, Marcus Aurelius, or Constantine? And that would be Emperor Constantine. What was the ancient Greek city-state known for its military prowess? Sparta, Athens, or Corinth? And that would be Sparta. What was the dominant social and economic system in the Middle Ages? Mercantilism, feudalism, or capitalism? And that was feudalism. Which city is considered the birthplace of the Renaissance? Florence, Rome, or Paris? The birthplace of the Renaissance. Florence. The age of exploration is primarily associated with which centuries? The 16th and 17th, the 15th and 16th, or the 14th and 15th centuries? The age of exploration, primarily in the 15th and 16th centuries. Which African country was the first to gain independence from colonial rule in 1957? And that was Ghana. The Enlightenment emphasized the importance of scientific reasoning and rationality, tradition and superstition, or monarchical authority. The importance of scientific reasoning and rationality. What was the economic system that emerged during the Industrial Revolution? Was it communism, capitalism, or feudalism? And it was capitalism. True or false? Colonialism is a policy of extending a country's power into other territories. Is that true, or is it false? And that would be false. Imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power into other territories. The Axis powers in World War II consisted primarily of which countries? France, Poland, and Belgium, Australia, Canada, and China, or Germany, Italy, and Japan? And the Axis powers were Germany, Italy, and Japan. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 symbolized what? The collapse of the Soviet Union, the beginning of the space race, or the reunification of Germany? And that signaled the reunification of Germany. Who was the main leader of the Chicano movement? Gloria Anasaldúa, Cesar Chavez, or Dolores Huerta? And that was Cesar Chavez. Who discovered atmospheric pressure? Johannes Kepler, Robert Hooke, or Evangelista Torricelli? And that was Evangelista Torricelli. The storming of what fortress is regarded as the start of the French Revolution? The storming of the Bastille, the Versailles, or the Louvre? And that would be the storming of the Bastille. The Achaemenid Empire is more commonly known as the Persian Empire, Greek Empire, or the Roman Empire? And that would be the Persian Empire. The Black Death was caused by what? Smallpox, the bubonic plague, or typhoid fever? The Black Death was caused by the bubonic plague. The September 11 attacks in 2001 targeted which locations in the United States? The Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building, the World Trade Center and Pentagon, or the White House and the Capitol Building? It targeted the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. The Mughal Empire was established by which ruler? Akbar, Aurangzeb, or Babur? And that would be the Babur. The partition of India resulted in the creation of which two nations? India and Pakistan, Pakistan and Afghanistan, or India and Bangladesh? India and Pakistan. What ancient civilization is credited with inventing papermaking? Ancient China, ancient Greece, or ancient India? And that would be ancient China. Who was the Roman general who crossed the Alps with elephants? Augustus, Hannibal, or Mark Antony? And that Roman general would be Hannibal. In ancient Greece, what is the assembly of citizens in a city-state? Is that an ecclesia, an agora, or an acropolis? And that is an ecclesia. Who was the English king who signed the Magna Carta in 1215? John Lackland, Richard the Lionhearted, or Henry II? And that was John Lackland. Which invention greatly aided the spread of Renaissance ideas? The telegraph, the printing press, or the steam engine? And that invention was the printing press. Who explored Spain and discovered the Americas? Ferdinand Magellan, Francisco Pizarro, or Christopher Columbus? And that would be Christopher Columbus. What major event did the Enlightenment lead to? The French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, or was it World War I? And that would be the French Revolution. The Industrial Revolution led to a shift in population from rural areas to agricultural areas, urban areas, or suburban areas. And that would be to urban areas. Which Southeast Asian country remained independent? Vietnam, Thailand, or Cambodia? And that would be Thailand. Which event marked the beginning of World War II in Europe? The attack on Pearl Harbor, the Battle of Stalingrad, or the German invasion of Poland? And that was the German invasion of Poland. The term Iron Curtain was coined by which British leader? Harold Macmillan, Winston Churchill, or Neville Chamberlain? And that was coined by Winston Churchill. The Mau Mau Rebellion was a struggle for independence in which African country? Zimbabwe, Tanzania, or Kenya? That was Kenya. Which of the following was a result of the 1969 Stonewall riots? The women's rights movement, the disability rights movement, or the LGBTQ plus rights movement? That was about the LGBTQ plus rights movement. The concept of universal gravitation was proposed by whom? Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, or Galileo Galilei? And that was proposed by Isaac Newton. The Haitian Revolution established which independent nation in 1804? Jamaica, Haiti, or Cuba? And that would be Haiti. The Hittite Empire was centered in which region? Mesopotamia, Greece, or Anatolia, modern Turkey? The Hittite Empire was centered in Turkey, or Anatolia. The 100 Years' War was primarily a struggle over what? Religious supremacy in Europe, control of the papacy, or territorial and dynastic disputes? It was about territorial and dynastic disputes. The Camp David Accords resulted in peace treaties between which two countries? Israel and Egypt, Israel and Palestine, or Israel and Jordan? And that was a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt. Which is not one of Columbus's 3 ships on his first voyage? La Pinta, La Santa Maria, La Niño? And that would be La Niño. Which state became part of the USA on January 3, 1959? Hawaii, Alaska, or Arizona? And that would be Alaska. What civilization was the first to use democracy? Ancient Rome, ancient Greece, or ancient Mesopotamia? And that was ancient Greece. What was the Roman road network that facilitated communication and trade? The Silk Road, the Via Appia, or the Trans-Siberian Railway? And that would be the Via Appia. Who wrote the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta? Thucydides, Xenophon, or Homer? And that would be Thucydides. Who sparked the Protestant Revolution in the 16th century? John Wycliffe, Henry VIII, or Martin Luther? And that would be Martin Luther. Which family was a patron of the arts during the Renaissance? The Borgia, the Medici, or the Visconti? And that would be the Medici family. What was the trade in the 16th century between Europe, Africa, and the Americas? The Trans-Saharan trade route, the Silk Road, or the triangular trade route? And that was the triangular trade route. Who authored the influential work, The Spirit of the Laws? Denis Diderot, Montesquieu, or Jean-Jacques Rousseau? And that was Montesquieu. Who invented the spinning frame and water frame? Richard Arkwright, Edmund Cartwright, or James Hargreaves? And that was Richard Arkwright. Which country in Africa was conquered by Belgium under King Leopold II? Nigeria, Congo, or Kenya? And that would be Congo. Which country suffered the most casualties during World War II? The Soviet Union, the United States, or the United Kingdom? And that would be the Soviet Union. Who was the leader of the Cuban Communist Revolution? Fulgencio Batista, Che Guevara, or Fidel Castro? And that was Fidel Castro. Who was the leader of the Algerian independence movement? Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, or Ahmed Ben Bella? And that would be Ahmed Ben Bella. The American Indian Movement, AIM, was founded to address issues related to what? Tribal sovereignty and treaty rights, labor rights for farm workers, or environmental protection? And that was about tribal sovereignty and treaty rights. Who authored the work Dialogo sopra il due massimi sistemi del mondo? Nicholas Copernicus, Isaac Newton, or Galileo Galilei? And that was written by Galileo Galilei. When was Declaration of Independence adopted? When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? April 12, 1861, July 4th, 1776, or September 17th, 1787? It was adopted on July 4th, 1776. The Kushite Empire flourished along the banks of which river in ancient Africa? The Euphrates, the Nile, or the Tigris? It flourished along the banks of the Nile. The Battle of Hastings in 1066 resulted in the conquest of England by which ruler? William the Conqueror, Edward the Confessor, or Harold Godwinson? And the conqueror was William the Conqueror. Who commanded the Army of Virginia in the American Civil War? Robert E. Lee, Ulysses S. Grant, or Stonewall Jackson? The Army of Virginia was commanded by none other than Robert E. Lee. In what country did the Battle of Waterloo take place? Germany, Belgium, or France? That took place in Belgium. Which famous monument did Shah Jahan build to immortalize his wife? Galveston Palace, the Taj Mahal, or Jame Mosque of Isfahan? And that would be the Taj Mahal. What ancient civilization is associated with the creation of the Rosetta Stone? Ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, or ancient Persia? And that would be ancient Egypt. True or false? Romulus Augustulus was the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire before its collapse in 476 AD. Is that true, or is that false? And that is true. Who was a playwright known for his tragedies, including Oedipus Rex, Euripides, Aeschylus, or Sophocles? And that was Sophocles. Who established the longest contiguous empire in history during the 13th century? Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan, or Attila the Hun? And that was Genghis Khan. Who painted the famous frescoes in the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City? Donatello, Michelangelo, or Titian? And those were painted by Michelangelo. Who was the first European explorer to reach the southern tip of Africa? Bartholomew Diaz, Vasco da Gama, or Marco Polo? And that would be Bartholomew Diaz. Who emphasized the importance of moral duty and ethical decision-making? Immanuel Kant, René Descartes, or John Locke? And that would be Immanuel Kant. Who invented the cotton gin during the Industrial Revolution? James Watt, Eli Whitney, or Samuel Morse? And that was Eli Whitney. The Treaty of Nanjing in 1842 marked the end of which conflict? The Second Opium War, the Taiping Rebellion, or the First Opium War? And that would be the First Opium War. The dropping of atomic bombs on which two Japanese cities ended World War II? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Osaka and Yokohama, or Tokyo and Kyoto? And that would be Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Bay of Pigs invasion was an abortive invasion of what country? Guatemala, Cuba, or Nicaragua? The Bay of Pigs was an invasion of Cuba. Which country did Indonesia gain independence from? The Netherlands, the United States, or China? They gained independence from the Netherlands. The Indian Citizenship Act of 1924 granted citizenship to what? Immigrants from India, indigenous people of the United States, or Japanese Americans? Indigenous people of the United States. Who is known for his work on the anatomy of the human body? Antony von Leeuwenhoek, Andreas Vesalius, or William Harvey? And that would be Andreas Vesalius. The Taiping Rebellion took place in what country in the mid-19th century? Vietnam, Japan, or China? And that would be China. What is the capital of the Byzantine Empire? Athens, Alexandria, or Constantinople? And that would be Constantinople. The Treaty of Tordesillas discovered lands between which two countries? England and France, Italy and Germany, or Spain and Portugal? And that would be between Spain and Portugal. Who became the president after Abraham Lincoln's death? James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, or Ulysses S. Grant? And that would be Andrew Johnson. Who assassinated Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914? Gavrilo Princip, Vladimir Lenin, or Grigory Rasputin? And that was Gavrilo Princip. Which U.S. president was the first to appear on television? The first president of the United States to appear on television was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And question 100. Who was the wartime nurse known as the Lady with the Lamp? Florence Nightingale, Mary Seacole, or Edith Cavell? The Lady with the Lamp was Florence Nightingale. And that's 100. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for playing. Drop your score in the comments, please. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any quiz time. Thanks for playing with us. We'll see you next time.